Good evening, everyone. I think we're live. It's telling me that we are. Welcome here tonight. We're very excited to be having this panel for you tonight. So a few of my friends and I got together and we decided that our stories were just too good to not share again. So we need to tell people, and we are excited to share tonight. I am Marge Martins. I'm a Senior Ruby Ambassador with Plexus Worldwide. And these ladies here tonight are Audra Horvey, Lynn Jansen, and Sheila Cron, my very own daughter. So we're very excited to have you, and we're going to start tonight with Lynn. She's going to be sharing her story first.
Hi guys. So I'm a homeschooling mama to 5 children. My oldest is 15 and my youngest is 4. So my story, I could go back quite a ways, but I want to keep this brief. I want to keep this short. So I'll just kind of share the basics with you guys. My journey started about 6 years ago. I was someone that was always very fit, try to eat healthy. I was exercising. That was very, very important to me. So about 6 years ago, my health went into a tailspin. I was suffering severe tiredness. When I say that, I could hardly take a couple steps and I would be out of breath. I couldn't blow dry my hair. I was just too exhausted. That gives you a little bit of an idea where I was. I had a lot of that, heart palpitations, a lot of worrying. Along with that was tension and nausea. I had a lot of indigestion. And it made for some really yucky recipe. So, and just not good for the whole family. It wasn't a good time, but I made it through. So in 2012, I became pregnant with our 5th child, and that came with some mixed emotions. Very excited, but yet I didn't know how was I already had all of these illnesses going on, and then on top of that I now had morning sicknesses, and just the nausea was even worse, and the tiredness was overwhelming. And to sum that up, that was probably my worst pregnancy that I've had with all 5 of them. So exhaustion, shortness of breath were some major symptoms as the beginning stages of a medical condition that they diagnosed me with. I remember going to the doctor and I just told him, like, I just feel like I couldn't even live anymore. I honestly thought I would probably die. That's how bad I felt, and I'm not exaggerating at all. So the journey to our 5th child was a very long one. I went through many testings, from heart ultrasounds, ECG. They put me on a heart monitor because I had the very bad heart palpitations. They offered me stress meds, counseling, but I chose not to pursue those. And as my symptoms worsened, and yes, they did worsen, so in April of 2014, they chose to remove my gallbladder, and then they were promising me that this would help and I would feel better after that. So in my desperation, we decided to go for that. And I wish I had never, but when you're so sick, you just kind of like, you just want anything just to feel that sense of, I just want to feel better. Like I just can't go on like this. So nothing changed after that. So during all this time, I also seeked a lot of natural remedies, spent thousands of dollars at a health food store, at a natural doctor's, and nothing helped. And I remember going back to a medical doctor, and he just said, just go home and research IBS. So in came, along 4 years later, the pink drink. So in 2014 of November, I started with the products. And to conclude, yeah, I didn't have results right away. My results were within 8 months. And Marge is on here, and she's the one that encouraged me to go on. It would get better yet. I am so glad that she was there for me and helped me, encourage me through this long journey. And honestly, I feel better than what I have in so many years. And I have sustained energy. As I told you before, I wasn't up much. I was in bed quite a bit. My hormones are balancing. I'm not as moody. My cravings for sugar, they're gone. The medical condition that I was diagnosed with is a lot better. And I have shared my story quite a bit, but I often find myself getting very emotional just because seeing from where I was to where I am today, and I will always share this because I asked my kids, especially my oldest, because he took a lot of the responsibility when I couldn't. He did the laundry. He made sure that the little kids were washed and fed, and he made lunch. He took over my duties, and I always felt so bad for him, but there was nothing I could do. And so when I asked him, so what have you seen in me that has changed? And he's like, Mom, everything about you has changed. And that coming from a 12-year-old, actually I think it was 13 at the time, he has seen my journey. I was in my journey, but he saw me through it all, being very sick and becoming healthier. And I'm just so grateful. I can't even put that into words. And so if you're wondering, the pink drink, what's this pink drink all about? This is the Slim. It comes in 30 packages like this. I don't know if you guys can see. And it helps to balance your blood sugar, cholesterol levels, lipid levels, helps with more energy, overall not craving the sweets, balancing your hormones. Honestly, today I had two. But that is a staple in the house. We don't go without the pink drink. So this has also helped us financially, as I have always tried to do something from home. I would either take kids in and babysit to help out financially. I would be a bus driver. I've been a bus driver for sparing for a couple years, always trying to see where I could help financially. And this has been such an answer to our prayers. I've been able to bring in an income, and that is because these products work. I wouldn't be making anything if these products weren't working, guys. And so this last month, I was able to pay for our mortgage. That is huge. And I was actually able to go to Arizona a couple weeks ago to see the company and how the company meet the CMO and the CEO. Just incredible. People that are humble, down to earth. They want what's best for us, and they are helping us. Just a lot of integrity and how they spoiled us. Wow, I was just floored, honestly. So anyways, I was going to keep this brief. So I will be introducing to you now Diane. Diane is a friend of mine, and I met her when we were living in Edmonton. She was our kids' Sunday school teacher. So go ahead, Diane.
Hi, everyone. Oh, I'm echoing. Is that normal?
You probably have something open in your background. Do you have a Facebook app open or another YouTube app?
No, but that's okay. That's good. It's good. Sorry. Okay. I'll give you a little background on my health history. I had a lot of stomach issues, and that goes back to high school. I would miss activities, I'd miss school, and that progressed into work. When I was working, I would miss work, I'd miss church, plans got canceled just from, it was either food affecting my stomach or I don't know, but it was just overly sensitive all the time. very disappointing when you have plans to do something and you'd be stuck at home last minute. So we dealt with that all the time. And when I didn't stay home, I was miserable. Like when I did try to be a trooper and go to work or go to these activities, I would be thinking about going home and laying down. That's all I could think about. So I dealt with that. I also had menstrual issues, that a lot of irregularity, but also I was hurting for 3 weeks out of the month. So it was mixed with my stomach issues. There were times where it was awful. And that was often, very often. So I did go to my doctor a few times, and I was put on birth control, which helped with those symptoms, but there's side effects with that. And I wasn't comfortable. I was already in my late 30s, early 40s, so I didn't want to be on that. And then lastly, I had seasonal sensitivities. So yeah, I suffered with runny nose, stuffy nose, sneezing, watery, itchy eyes. I couldn't sleep. Issues like that would come along every spring, which is my busy season at work. So that was very taxing, and I was a mess when it came to spring season. And spring is so busy for me, and it's long hours, 6 to 7 days a week sometimes, and you're just expected to be at your peak performance. And I would take stuff for my symptoms and it would help, but then there's side effects to that as well. Like my head would be in the clouds. I couldn't concentrate properly. So yeah, so that was my life. Those are the things that I dealt with, and I took care of myself. I thought I was a healthy person, and but those were things I just thought I had to deal with for the rest of my life. And then come November 2015, Lynn told me about Plexus. And first time I tasted the pink drink she was talking about, I felt a surge of energy. Like I felt something that day. It was kind of neat. I remember telling my husband. But I did, the first month, it was towards the end of the first month is when I knew my stomach was getting better. I could feel it getting stronger. I wasn't getting sick as much. And it has progressed every month since then. And I couldn't ask for anything more. It's fantastic. I have no complaints with stomach issues, which is amazing. Then comes spring 2016. So I started in November, and in the spring, no symptoms. I had no seasonal symptoms, which I was not even expecting. That wasn't even on my radar. So it was just amazing. It was the best work experience for spring that I've ever had, and I'm so grateful. I joke about the argument that my husband and I always had about the bedroom window in the spring, because he always wanted it open for fresh air and just to cool air. And we'd fight about it because I couldn't breathe. With all the pollen in the air, I could not breathe. So I have a happier marriage because of it. And then summer 2016, just last summer, I chose to go off the birth control, and I have not needed to take anything. So I don't have any discomfort. It's amazing. I can't believe it. And it's a blessing for sure. My product is the ProBio 5 that I'm focusing on tonight. And ProBio 5 is, in my opinion, I've taken other probiotics, but it's the most effective probiotic I've ever taken. It's 5 hardy strands of the good bacteria, and it also includes an antifungal, and it has enzymes in it. And those enzymes reduce the overgrowth of the bad organisms in your gut. And it's amazing. Like a lot of probiotics just have the good. They're putting in the good, but if you're not taking out the bad, we're still struggling with those issues. So you feel a difference. You feel different, and I love it. It's fantastic. They say that you should have 80% good bacteria in your gut and 20% bad, and most people have the opposite, which is what I think I had. I'm sure I had the opposite. So that's why everyone needs a good probiotic. As for the business side, I'll just quickly say I work full-time, and it's minimal. It's unbelievable how little time you need. You can spend as much time as you want, but I've just spent a little bit every night, a little bit of time every night, and the benefits are amazing. Not just finances, but the people that it's helping, people in my family that it's helping, friends. It's really awesome. So that's my story, and I'll pass it over to Audra.
Okay, thank you. Hi, my name is Audra Horvey, and I am a certified holistic nutritional consultant. And I guess I'll just start with a little bit about my background. I have an agricultural background, so I grew up on a farm, and I still live on a farm. And I have a degree in agriculture, and so my interest was always in animal nutrition. That was kind of my specialty. And then I had children who are now grown. My boys are 20 and 22. But as soon as I had kids, my interest switched completely to human nutrition, because I wanted to make sure my kids were being fed properly and healthy. So I did what I thought was right for them. I followed the Canada Food Guide, and I followed what society and the mainstream medical society recommended for people to eat. And we started having some health issues. I became, actually by the time I was in my late 20s, so I was 29 into early 30s, I was actually completely menopausal symptoms, and it was crazy. My poor family. It was a really, really horrible time for everyone in this household. And during that time, my kids also started having health issues like allergies and asthma. And as they got a little bit older, they had really bad acne. And at the time, I just thought it was normal, because honestly, most kids in society have those issues now. And I thought, well, whatever, we just deal with them, and we take the medication and the inhalers and everything else that we were told to take. And looking back, I think, you know, there's a better way. It doesn't have to be that way for kids. And I started to read, like, because I was interested in nutrition, I read a lot about it, but my beliefs started aligning more with holistic viewpoints and natural health. And throughout my research, I actually found what was called the Canadian School of Natural Nutrition. And at the time, like about 10 years ago or so, it wasn't in Edmonton. It was in other cities in Canada. And I thought, well, you know, that'd be a really cool course to take, because I would love to learn more about health for myself and my kids and family. And really, that's my passion, is nutrition. So lo and behold, a school opened up in Edmonton a few years ago, and I decided to jump in and go for it and get my course. And it was awesome, because it was so nice to be around people who had the same beliefs as me. And it really, really focused on what I truly believe is the core of most health issues, which is gut health. And so lo and behold, after I took this course and learned a lot about nutrition and how changing our food can really help change our health conditions, but that often supplementation is required, because in our society we're full of medication and preservatives and fast foods and nutrient-depleted soil and stress, and so many things are affecting our gut health. And because our food supply isn't necessarily the best all the time, we definitely need some supplementation. So a friend of mine who is a friend of Diane's introduced me to Plexus and talked about how the products get to the root of all these issues. Like, it helps with gut health, and it helps with inflammation, which is huge, and it helps with balancing blood sugar. And when I was first introduced, I thought, okay, sure, those things do all of that, right? Because I hadn't come across any supplement line that actually gets to the root. I mean, there's a lot of good products out there, but not necessarily getting to that root. And so I started to do a bit of research on my own, and started hearing testimonials, and I met real life people like Diane and Marge, and I read a lot of the other testimonials, and I thought, boy, you know, there really seems to be something to this. It's like I was really, really interested. And then I decided to try the products. So that was only 3 months ago. And just to back up a bit with the hormonal issues, after going through all the menopause and blah, 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 my thyroid started to go, which is kind of a natural progression after everything else. The thyroid kind of starts to go. So I've been struggling with that, trying to get that figured out. And honestly, 3 months in from trying Plexus products, and my thyroid hormones are now at a normal level, which is amazing. Pretty darn good, because it's actually nice to not have to feel like I have to have a nap every afternoon, or you know, feel like a truck ran over me in the morning or whatever. But so that was awesome. And not only that, another thing that I'm loving about the Plexus products is that I'm actually going to the bathroom regularly, which hasn't happened maybe ever since I was a little kid. I've always had intestinal issues and just really, really struggle with that. Probably a lot to do with the fact that I lived on antibiotics since the time I was a kid, having all kinds of infections and, like ear infections. And every time you go to the doctor, that's what they would prescribe is antibiotics. So it probably completely destroyed my gut. So one of the products I'm going to focus on right now is, I don't know if you can see it. Oh, maybe now can you see it? It's called BioCleanse. And BioCleanse, don't let the cleanse fool you. The cleanse, some people get a little bit freaked out because they think, oh my gosh, a cleanse, I'm going to be going to the bathroom 25 times a day, but it's not necessarily the case. It's meant to, so what it is, it's a magnesium product basically. And magnesium is like nature's muscle relaxant. So it does help the intestines move properly. It helps them get rid of waste, which is what should be happening in our intestines, but doesn't always happen. And the way that this magnesium product is formulated, it's combined with vitamin C, bioflavonoids, and sodium. And once it's in the bloodstream, it actually oxygenates in your body. And in an oxygenated environment, pathogens can't live. So, which is a really good thing because we don't want the bad things in our body. We want them to get out of our body. So that helps with that. And while it's producing an environment where pathogens do not want to live, it's also with the magnesium helping your intestines release those toxins. So it's a super, super product. I would highly, highly recommend it. I love it. I'm recommending it as well as all the other products to many, many people. And yeah, I just can't say enough good about Plexus. I'm a complete believer, and I will continue the products because like I said, I'm only 3 months in, and I can't wait to see how things go down the road, a year from now, 2 years from now, who knows. And with that, I'll keep it short and sweet, and I will turn it over to Sheila, who is Marge's daughter. And I've just met Sheila recently through Plexus and meeting all kinds of wonderful people. So Sheila, I will turn it over to you.
Thank you so much, Audra. Oh man, I just absolutely love sitting here and listening to all these stories. It's just incredible. So like Audra said, my name is Sheila Cron. I am Marge's daughter, her oldest child. And just a little bit of history about myself. My health issues have gone back to when I was a child. But my journey to health really started about 4 years ago when I was officially diagnosed with a genetic autoimmune condition that was very related around my gut, and which made a lot of sense because I had dealt with a lot of gut issues my whole life. And it affected every part of my life, my mental state, every part of my life. So that was a big, just a second, please. That was a big part of my life. That's 4 years ago now. It's crazy how fast time goes by. And so after that, we made a lot of changes in our life, in our diet, in how we just did life. And I think it was not even, so February to November. My mom started Plexus that next November, and she raved about it like crazy. She talked about it all the time. And I had this whole whack-loaded list of issues that I was dealing with my mind, with my gut, with my joints. I was just an overall very unhealthy person. I had just gotten married, and I remember my husband saying at the beginning of our marriage, what kind of life do we even really have? You're just sick all the time. And he didn't mean it in a negative way. He was just really being honest because it was the truth. And I know that my mom had dealt with a lot of the similar issues that I had. I mean, as moms, we hand our issues down to our children, right? So that's very normal. And so when she started raving about this, I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. I had just found out I was pregnant with our first child. And after having lost our previous pregnancy, I was pretty cautious. I was stuck on bed rest right away, and it was a really hard pregnancy. I dealt with a lot of health issues, and so for me to try something new was not on my radar at all. I just kind of wanted to stay contained in my little bubble where nothing could touch me and hopefully make this baby grow until she could come out, right? But my mom kept talking about it. And she was doing so well. Like all of a sudden, she was just doing all sorts of stuff, like gardening and crazy stuff. And I wasn't sure what was going on with her. About halfway through my pregnancy, she finally convinced me to give it a try. And so it was like night and day. I'll have to tell you, it's like night and day. The first part of my pregnancy, I dealt with really bad nausea and tiredness, and I just felt like a train wreck. And I was doing everything that I was told to do. I was thinking that this is just pregnancy, right? We're all kind of conditioned that this is just what pregnancy is. And this is what we do to bring our children into the world. And all of a sudden, I started with the pink drink and the X Factor. That was my start. I knew that I was taking a prenatal up till then, but I had noticed, I'm not, like, I know of other moms that have talked about this as well. I had noticed that on the days where I missed taking my prenatal, I felt better. I didn't feel as nauseous. And I was like, I wonder what this has to do. Like, I wonder what the correlation is. And so I talked to my midwife and I showed her the X Factor, the multivitamin, and she said, this is a really, really good vitamin, Sheila. You should be taking this. I was like, okay, well, I'll try it. And so I can tell you honestly that just by switching my multivitamin, it made all the difference in the nausea. It made all the difference. And I'm positive that it's because my body could actually absorb and digest the nutrients. And it wasn't just fighting against it. So from then on, I still had some complications in my pregnancy. I mean, my health was still not in good shape at all. But things were looking up and I was starting to get a lot healthier. Here I am. I'm going to fast forward a little bit. 3 years later, I'm having my 3-year Plexiversary this month, and I can tell you I'm a totally different person. It just feels awesome. I'm actually sitting here, I'm going on 13 weeks pregnant with our second child. And so I'm just past the first trimester part. And I was really curious coming into this pregnancy. I was really curious how it would be for me, how different it would be from last time. And it's been night and day. I do not have one single health issue. I actually keep calling my mom. I'm like, hey mom, do you think maybe there's something wrong with me? Do you think maybe I'm not pregnant because I don't feel like I am? She's like, Sheila, quit it, okay? Like, you're fine. Everything's fine. You're just feeling good. And it's crazy because that's how good I feel. I was a little more tired than usually in the first trimester, and I have maybe a little bit of nausea, very, very little bit. As long as I made sure that I was well fed, I was doing great. And that is huge. I have had absolutely nothing to complain about. And then today, like just a couple days ago, I actually learned a little bit more about how nausea works in pregnancy and how it's related to low magnesium in your body and how your blood sugar needs to be balanced and how very often your body can't absorb your vitamins and minerals. All things that I've been really working on in my health for the past 3 years. Audra mentioned the BioCleanse. That's huge for your magnesium. That's huge for a pregnant woman. Lynn talked about the Slim. Balances your blood sugar. This whole first trimester, I've been very faithfully drinking my pink drink, and I will not miss a morning because I notice a difference every day. I notice that difference. And so I'm really excited to see what the next, until 42 weeks is like. But I know it's going to be great. And I know that with how good I'm feeling now, it just shows how far my body has come in the last 3 years. I no longer have a lot of that gut issues that I dealt with. I mean, I still have the condition, but the effects are so much less. And my mental health is so much better. And I don't have that joint pain anymore or that worrying or anything like that. I literally feel like a new person. And that is such a huge thing for me because I get to be the wife I've always wanted to be. And most of all, I get to be the mother I've always wanted to be. I get to be there for my family. So I talked quite a bit about the X Factor. It's this lovely little green bottle here. And people always ask, what makes it different? Well, first of all, our X Factor has a patented aloe blend in it. And basically, when you add aloe to anything, it helps It helps your body absorb the minerals and the vitamins up to 300 to 400% more. So to put that in really plain words, I'm going to give you a little TMI here. When you go to the bathroom, you're not going to be peeing neon yellow because your body is actually absorbing those vitamins. That's huge. That's really huge. And you can actually take those nutrients and use them, and it gives you energy, and you feel it. It feels so good.
Mommy, I want snacks.
Very soon. And next, it also has, it's fully methylated. So one of the things I learned recently is that about 40% of the population has the genetic gene mutation called MTHFR. Basically, that means that your body can't properly break down synthetic folic acid or other vitamins and minerals. It can't break them down properly, and it just starts storing them in your body, which can be really bad for you. In order for you to be able to break down those vitamins, minerals, folic acid, you need to have a vitamin that's fully methylated. Our X factor is fully methylated, and on top of that, it has folate in it, not folic acid, which is huge. Folic acid is the synthetic version, and folate is the natural version. So this vitamin, I mean, I recommend it. I'm young, I'm only 24. I recommend it to all my pregnant friends because it's literally the best vitamin I've ever had. And it's so much better than so many of those prenatals out there. I mean, if they make you feel sick, this is where it's at. I promise you that. So it's been 3 years now, and I didn't come into this thinking that it would be anything huge. I actually came into it a really big skeptic, and I came into it because my mom said I had to. And for that, I'm forever thankful. See, mom knows what's good for you, right? And now I'm actually, because of of our amazing products that all these ladies have talked about tonight, and because of how generous this company is and the amazing comp plan they have, I get to be not only a healthy mom, but also a stay-at-home mom, which is such a huge deal in our economy today. I get to work from home, and I get to be there for every moment. When my maternity leave ended when my daughter was 11 months old, I did not have to leave her side. And that was such a big deal for me because one of my dreams has always been to be a mom. And so I didn't want to miss anything. And you might even be able to hear Frozen in the background, and she's in and out of the room. That's kind of my life now. This business is so perfect that it works for each of us. I mean, for the full-time working mom, for all of us. I mean, my mom is now doing Just Plexus. This is huge. We all get to do it. Please.
I want my dress.
Very soon. So that's my life now, and I'm so thankful for this company and for these products and for how they've given me my life back and for the opportunity they've given my family. So I'm going to give it back to my wonderful mother who started this whole thing and is the reason why we're all here. And
can we just stand up and cheer? I'm so grateful for each one of these women here. There's just nothing like it. There's nothing like it to have been like just a slight part of these lives changing, right? To me, that has just been such a huge reward. So that brings me back to, how did I come to this? Well, I also had a really special friend need in my life and reached out and said, you need this. And I looked at it and I thought, a weight loss product? I don't need that. I had other issues I was dealing with, but not weight, right? And she challenged me and continued to show me by caring for me. She said, you need what I have, and I know that you're smart, and I want you to look into this. And I'm going to share a little bit about where I was a working mom, like Sheila said. Who says you can't live through your kids again, right? She gets to do so many of the things that I never got to do, right? I was gone so many of the things I always missed. Because me and my husband had decided to go for both taking a lower income and then being able to have him as well, because his job always took him out into the logging industry, which was often like he was gone 6.5 days a week. 10 years that we were married. And after that, the kids started getting older and we were like, we don't want this. We want our kids to grow up together with mom and dad. So mom and dad both went to work, and that way we were at least all home working, right? And then health starts being an issue. And like Sheila also mentioned, my health had been an issue since childhood. Issues were digestive, were gut health related. A lot of them were blood sugar related. So sleeping was a huge problem. Energy was a huge problem. The thought process was sometimes really cloudy. When you have a high maintenance job, that is, you need to be very on the ball. Like Diane mentioned, you need to have a clear, bright mind. And it's so hard when you're not feeling well. So I came to these products in at the very end of 2013. And I started basically out of desperation because it was winter and it was starting to get dark again and I was tired, and the demands of a working mom with sick kids are high. And I remember coming home from work and standing at the bottom of the steps feeling so overwhelmed. There lay my other full-time job, right? Which should have been my only full-time job, but that was my other one. Overwhelming. So I reached out in desperation. I said, I'm going to try. And then I can honestly say by that was November of 2013. And by April, I felt like a new person. I felt like someone had just granted me life. Someone had reached out and said, here, do this, and then you'll be able to function. And it was my play this card and you can skip to the end of the game kind of thing. That's what it felt like. It felt like I'd won a free something, you know. It's so life-changing that it's hard to put into words. That first summer we worked. It was so much fun. We spent so much time catching up on things that had fallen behind. My husband also had like lots of respiratory issues, and we were starting to deal with that. And we were pumped for the kids to get better. We'd never really even considered the fact that there is massive business opportunity lying right at our feet. All we needed to do was just to take it. And I so desperately had prayed for years for an opportunity to be able to be a stay-at-home mom. I wanted to stay at home and do the things that I wanted to do with my family. So as time went on, people saw the difference in me, and I started reaching out to people. I said, look what it's doing for us. Like, you have to try this. Because you know what? Sick people keep company with sick people. That's what they do, because you have that in common, right? Friends started getting on board with me, and other people started sharing, and because they also found that when you start dealing with root issues, and like our friends here tonight talked about, root issues are your gut health, your blood sugar balance, and your inflammation. And so often we find that we're treating the symptoms. And why is this continually coming back, right? But we're never going right down to the cause. Where's our cause? Why is this coming back? Why can't I get my body to a point where I'm actually functioning properly, right? And that is what Plexus was looking at when they developed the Triplex combo, which is the pink drink that Lynn talked about, the probiotic that Diane talked about, and the BioCleanse that Audra talked about. That is our most common package that most people start with, because it just simply deals with those root issues. Start there and add that brilliant X Factor vitamin that Sheila talked about. We call that our Fab 4, because you know what? You're going to feel fabulous. That is just such a huge difference to look at your body and look at the root issues, right? So there I was, sharing with people, telling people about Plexus, and I had told my friend, I do not need another business. I don't need to make money on this. I'm very busy. I don't have time. My time factor was always the big thing. And like Diane said, you know what? I was doing it without even knowing. It wasn't even taking my time. I was sharing because I felt that these people deserved the same thing I had. So long story short, May 2015, I walked out of my office admin job and I came home to full-time Plexus. And it's been like 2 years next month. And I thought back this week and I was thinking, wow, that I've been at home. Plexus has been like a massive blessing to us. We're actually in the process of possibly finding ourselves in a situation where my husband's job is going to be really unstable for a while, we're not concerned. We're not worried. We're sleeping fine. We have a wedding in 8 days. Our son is getting married. And you know what? No one laid awake at night wondering how we were going to pay the bills. Plexus has offered so much for us and so many of our friends, and lives have been changed because you know why? Because people focus on two things. And often I, even myself, found myself not sleeping because I was worrying more about the finances than I was thinking about my health. And I know there's more people like me out there as well. So that has been such a huge unexpected blessing for us that we want to share that with others. Plexus has, like Lynn talked about, a company of integrity. They talk about network marketing done in the way that it could be done, should be done, but rarely ever is done. And we've seen that in action. And we've been able to be a part of the company now for 3.5 years. We've been able to meet so many friends. I tell you, the community that brings these people together, we call them One Plexus, but they're our Plexus family, right? It's built on a compensation plan that is fair and that uplifts each other. And I find that so terribly encouraging because I think if we were to help others with their health and then have to have competition in between each other in order to make money, no one would do it. No one would be able to say, well, I helped you with your health and now I want your money, right? So the compensation plan flows completely in line alongside of what the products offer. We have a 94% success rate, guys. That is just astounding. We know society needs these issues to be dealt with. We need to have healthy bodies. Alongside, we can share with our friends, we can grow our businesses. These ladies here, we link arms and we grow together. We're so excited for that. There's a few things that we're going to wrap up with, and I just want to tell you thank you all for coming. And please go back to your ambassador or your friend that invited you to this event. They will help you find the best possible way to buy these products, to look into the business opportunity, whatever your need may be. But please reach out, ask questions. We all are here to help you. So each and every one of you for coming tonight, and ladies for sharing tonight. That was so amazing to hear. Thank you all and have a good night. See ya.